O Pleno.News esteve no Texas para conversar com a equipe da série The Chosen, que em breve fará o lançamento da 4ª temporada. Além de ver os bastidores, a gente falou com os roteiristas e o resultado você acompanha agora. I'm gonna ask, how long does it take to write each season?
About 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've just got 3 of us. So Tyler, myself, and our partner Dallas. And we've got a team. We've got a story editor, Maisha. We've got a researcher, Gabrielle, and so it takes about 5 months to triangulate.
Cool. And tell us about the process of writing The Chosen, because you have so many interesting characters, have different approach somehow, and people like it, and you also have humor. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
We approach our characters just like any regular day-to-day person you would have in your life, whether it's your parent or your friend or the guy who collects your taxes or the police officer who enforces state law, in your town and patrols things. We try to treat it as much like a modern day thing as possible, while also staying very faithful and true to the cultural differences that might stand in the way. We approach it with the Bible as the foundational text, the same way you would adapt any other book. But because the Bible in some places has lots of detail and in other places leaves pretty big gaps of information, we get to use our sanctified imagination and use creativity to come up with plausible scenarios that sort of connect the dots of what's already in the Bible.
A lot of people relate with the characters. Do you also relate with any character? Can you point to one? Can you name one?
Yes. I relate in some ways to the character of Nathaniel and also Mary Magdalene. I think that one of the things that was interesting to us from the get-go is to find the characters that were broken and to dive into their vulnerabilities and to mine them for the drama, and also to find characters who needed to meet Jesus. That lent itself to our whole premise, which was not to start the show believing that everybody who tuned in was already knew the story. We wanted to walk these characters through, and so Mary offered us an entry.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this. I often say Matthew because I've often in my life felt like some kind of an outsider, or felt like I'm not sure what's the appropriate way to navigate a social situation in which he finds himself that way often. I think too a lot about Nicodemus, and I maybe more aspire to be someone like Nicodemus, which is to say he's very familiar with Torah, with the Jewish law, and with predictions about the Messiah and things like that. But he's open and he's curious, and he is willing to set aside his convictions to hear out Jesus about who he is based on what he's seen through Magdalene. And I hope that I can be like that as well, not holding so tightly to certain traditions, but willing to sort of question the way that he does. So that's maybe a character I more aspire to.
And what can the audience expect from season 4? I know, no spoilers, I know, but what can you share with us?
It's a year of consequences, because as Jesus' ministry grows ever larger, new opportunities beget new threats.
Mm-hmm.
And so the characters will, in some ways, encounter real danger, and they will encounter what their sacrifices mean when there's the most at stake. And so it's really the first half of the year of persecution for our group and for Jesus. And so we are eventually leading to the light, but the characters now are going through, I think, what any characters at the midpoint of a story face, which is they are at the end of their own resources, and they need to learn a new way, and they need to reach for a new understanding.
Oh, that's interesting. How do you define The Chosen? How do you explain it to someone?
I'd say, I think history-making, ground-making, historical drama that explores sort of the backstories and relationships of the people that Jesus chose to spend his time with.
Awesome. It's very inspiring. How did you get involved with this project? Who called you?
I was writing screenplays in Los Angeles, and my high school classmate reached out to me and said, "You got to meet my husband. He's doing a movie right now, and I think you guys would get along." And so that was Dallas's wife, Amanda, and we met each other in North Hollywood, California, at a film festival, and we struck up a friendship almost immediately. And he started to ask me my opinion about screenplays, and at a certain point, he told me he had an exceptional playwright, poet, and screenwriter that he wanted me to meet, and that was Tyler.
Yeah, and I had been a video editor for Dallas, and I did that for a while, then moved on and was doing playwriting and other things like that, and he contacted me and said, hey, I've got an idea. And so we ended up writing the pilot, The Shepherd, which became The Chosen. And before we filmed it, Dallas said he wanted to run it by this guy, this screenwriter out in Hollywood, and get any notes, and that person was Ryan. And he read it, and he sent back like one note.
Had one note.
And so looking back now, I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. That means like we're going to make a good, we didn't know it would lead to this, but looking back, it's like that was a first sign that we would make a good team, the three of us.
You've worked in so many other projects before, but how do you explain or try to explain the success of The Chosen series? Because it's different.
I can't,
Exactly.
except to say that most of the stories I've written were imaginative. They came from my own imagination, and they had the limits of my own imagination. This is a story with no ceiling. It goes all the way from life, death, to eternal, to spiritual, to heartache. I mean, these are the ingredients for the greatest stories ever told, and this one has them all. And so I think once I read the screenplay that Dallas and Tyler had written and saw that their lens through these stories that are written in stone, that are immutable, that can't be touched, that their lens on them were through the surrogate eyeballs of the people that Jesus encountered, and that there you could actually make drama from the greatest story ever told, and sort of tell it anew in a new way that felt unexpected. We're really running still off of the wonder and incredible breadth of our source material, which is the Bible.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.